The path of liberation is a combination of the awareness of the pure self, Nishchay Vani, what you have heard, so awareness of the pure self and right conduct. It's a combination of both. Nishchay Rakhi Lakshma, Sadhan Karva Soy. So combination of these two, and that is the path of liberation. Oh, it seems we are back to Moksha Upai then. But now, that was just principles. These are the wrong practices now. Having misunderstood the principles. So, I told you he already got up and he sits again. And now all the pitfalls. It was so simple, but we are not simple, no. We are complex beings. Marg is simple. So, Moksha Upai was simple. We enjoyed it. Plaza. Everything was so simple. It seemed like, common sense in good words. Karma bhav, moksha bhav, but all common sense. So moksha marg is simple, but because we are complex, so the upsamhar saves us. So upsamhar, I can say, is like, I can't evaluate everything. Huh? So, however, it is often observed that seekers are unable to maintain a balance of both and hence are unable to progress on the path of liberation. In order to emphasize that the goal of liberation cannot be accomplished by pursuing it with one-sided approach, in this verse, Param Kripaludev says,
नए निश्चय एकांत थी आमानथी कहे एकांते व्यवहार नहीं बनने साथ रहे.
Naya viewpoint. Nischaya absolute. एकांत थी one-sidedly. नहीं निश्चय एकांत थी. One-sided approach is wrong. Absolute viewpoint is right. But one-sided belief is wrong. Ama એટલે क्या? Here means Dharampur. Here means in Atmasiddhi Shastra, nathi kahel, not stated. I have not stated the absolute viewpoint, Param Kripaludev is saying. I have not stated the absolute viewpoint in a one-sided manner in the Atmasiddhi Shastra. I have only stated Vyavhar nahi one-sidedly. Not that also? Oh. Ekante, one-sidedly Vyavhar, relative viewpoint, nahi. Then what? Banne, both, saath, together, rahel, present. We don't have time, but once I had, મેં સ્ટડી કરી હતી કેટલી વ્યવહારની ગાથા છે ને કેટલી નિશ્ચયની ગાથા છે. Because sometimes those who want to speak ill of Param Kripaludev said એ તો બધા નિશ્ચયવાળા છે. બધા શુદ્ધ આત્મા શુદ્ધાત્માની જ વાત આવે છે. શુદ્ધ બુદ્ધ ચૈતન્ય ઘન સ્વયં જ્યોતિ નિશ્ચય નહીં. સો મેં કાઢ્યું કેટલી વ્યવહારની ગાથાઓ વધારે છે, નિશ્ચયની ઓછી છે. So, short meaning, here in this scripture, the account has not been given from one-sided view of absolute standpoint or one-sided view of the relative viewpoint. The harmony of both the standpoints have been kept in view. When I am writing about the Nischay, that Vyavhar is in my Lakshya. When I am writing about the Vyavhar, that Nischay in my Gnan, Banne, both are kept simultaneously. In writing, maybe, one is in the forefront, other is subordinated at that time. Jevu purpose, Jevi requirement. If I am talking of the eternal nature, then I have to say Shuddha Buddha Chaitanya Gan Swayam Jyoti Sukadam. But if I am seeing my current state, so I might have to say Tyaga Viragana Chittama Thayana Tene Gnan. You need Tyag Vairagya. But if you are pure only, why do you need? So no, I am seeing from the relative viewpoint. But if I am seeing from the absolute viewpoint, nothing is needed to Shuddha Che, Buddha Che, Chaitanya Gan Che, Swayam Jyoti Che ne Sukadam Che. ક્વિઝ વાલા થોડા ગભરાયેલા દેખાય કે આ તો જરા ધાર્યા કરતા ઊંડું નીકળું નહીં હા બિકોઝ ક્વિઝમાં તો ગમે તે પૂછી લે એક નિશ્ચય નહીંથી પ્રરૂપિત ગાથા બોલો તમને કહેશો આવું ક્યાં છે ઉપસંહારમાં So you should know means to participate in the quiz of Upsamhar means being well versed in the whole Atmasiddhi Shastra. Because if I say Jo Chetan Kartu Nati Thata Ko Karma, so and if a question is asked, is this from the absolute viewpoint or relative viewpoint? And A be pachu true and false ma avi jaye. What will Shroff say? Hoy and Chetan Prerna, Kona Grahe To Karma. This is from Nishchani or Vyavharni?
વ્યવહાર નહીં
And Chetan Joni Jabhan Ma Karta Aap Swabhav.
નિશ્ચય નહીં.
Nahi, Vyavharni. Because it's talking of the state, no? It's not talking of the eternal nature. આવું બધું પૂછાશે. જે ત્રણે એક હિન્ટ આપી દઉં છું. If it's an eternal truth, it was, is, and will remain. All will come in Nishchay. If any change is pure to impure or impure to pure, anything, changes વાળું છે, વ્યવહારમાં ઠોકી દેવા. ફૂલ માર્ક્સ. હવે હું બી નવરો થઈ જાઉં છું, કંઈક ટાઈમ જોઈતો હોય, ટ્યુશન જોઈતા હોય તો કહેજો. આજે ડેડિકેશન લખી દો એટલે now yeah, nothing to do. આવતો નહીં. So the harmony in my Gnan both is simultaneously present, and even in my writings I might have emphasized in one gatha, in one verse I might have emphasized on the absolute viewpoint. In the other gatha I might have emphasized, but both are present, both go together, banne saath rahe, both are present, both go together, both, or you can say simultaneously kept in my belief. Study it. Okay, beautiful. So if you want to know the nature of an object, it can be known by Naya and Pramana. Bapa, Naya you are saying because you have to explain the first word, Nahi Nishchaye Kan. But now why are you introducing this Praman? Already our syllabus is too much. To understand Nai, you have to understand Praman. Nai and Praman, by Nai and Praman, you can understand an object. So what is the difference between Nai and Praman? Very simple. Nai is a partial truth. Praman is a complete truth. Nai is a partial truth and Praman is a complete truth. So Nai is only a viewpoint and Praman is a complete truth. So the two prominent Nai, the Nischay Nai and the Vyavhar Nai, or the absolute viewpoint and the relative viewpoint or the practical viewpoint. Vyavhar can be interpreted in any way, relative or practical. So one is the absolute viewpoint, eternal in all three times, and one is the relative viewpoint, in relation to. That way. I am a pure soul is one thing, I am a kaka is from one thing. Or say I am a human from one viewpoint, I will always remain. And always remain means in this birth. And kaka in relation to a Bhatrija or Bhatriji, mama in relation to my bhanja or banji, father in relation to the son, son in relation to the father, but as human, I'm constant. So this constancy is absolute viewpoint, and that is the relative viewpoint. Simple. So Praman means the entire truth, and Nai is just one viewpoint. So it is a partial truth. Nai and Praman. So both the Nai, the absolute viewpoint, and the relative viewpoint, both are partial truths. If you say Atma is Shuddh, is a partial truth. If I say my Atma is Adhamadam Adhikopatit, so impure, that is also a partial truth. You have not understood the complete nature of the soul if you are talking from one viewpoint. If you say I'm kaka, I'm right, you are right, but only in relation to this. So this is one side of me, one truth, partial truth. And I being a human is a complete truth. So this way, one is a partial truth and one is a complete truth. So naya nischay hoy ke naya vyavhar hoy, both can be powerful in their places. They can be powerful in their places, but they only speak partially of the truth of that substance. They are very powerful. Nischay will always negate the Vyavhar. Vyavhar will always negate the Nischay. But they both are partial truths. So, just looking at the observing or understanding the substance from one Naya or one viewpoint, don't be overwhelmed. You have understood it all. You have only understood the partial truth. So obviously this is a praman. Atma Siddhi Shastra is a praman. It has to expound the complete truth. So it is going to speak at times from the absolute viewpoint, at times from the relative viewpoint. Some verses, can you give me one more example of Vyavarni? Kashayini upshantata, meaning you have kashaya and you have to pacify, meaning you are impure. Because you have, and now you are going to pacify. But that means you are not pure. You have to become pure. So become આવ્યું એટલે શું? Hello Prajesh. Become આવ્યું એટલે વ્યવહાર નહીં or નિશ્ચય નહીં. Very good. એક mark extra લઈ લેજે. Before studying he knows so much. It is really very, very easy when you have a guru in life, and such a guru in life. Very easy. All the complex matters are also like so simple. It seems so simple. The only thing which is difficult is how moksha marg is considered difficult. That is difficult to comprehend with a guru. And with several scriptures with you, you can go into a proper mess. You can mess up. And all the shastras are true. And still you can mess up. So these verses help us to steer it out, steer yourself out of the mess. Okay. So, say this glass of water. આમાં બીજું તો કઈ નહીં હોય. Glass of water. What is this? Glass of? But મને તો સ્ટીલનું glass દેખાય છે. I feel the glass is of steel. You are saying glass of water? What is the truth? Huh? How both? This is of water or this is of steel? ભાઈ કોઈ આવીને ચેક કરો ને. સંદીપ. She is saying this is a glass of water. And મને ખબર ને, I'm feeling it's a glass of steel. તું ચેક કરીને. So, How you are saying both, I don't understand. So if you see from the absolute viewpoint, only the material from which this glass is made, this is a glass of water is wrong. It is a glass of steel. કાચનું નથી, પ્લાસ્ટિકનું નથી, સિલ્વરનું પણ નથી, સ્ટીલનું છે. બહુ વર્ષો પહેલાં મને સિલ્વરના ગ્લાસમાં આપતા હતા. વેન આઈ વોઝ ઇન 8th સ્ટાન્ડર્ડ. તો ઘરમાં પણ હોય ને તો ડાઇનિંગ ટેબલ પર બી મારી સિલ્વરની ડિશ. So for me it was steel or silver, it was not like fine. I was fine with anything. એક વખત કોઈને ત્યાં પગલાં કરવા ગયા અને એને કંઈ સ્ટીલના ગ્લાસમાં પાણી આપ્યું છે. એન્ડ દેટ વોઝ ઇન જયપુર, આઈ એક્ઝેક્ટલી નો. અને એને એના ઘરમાં જે હોય તે આપે, તો સ્ટીલના ગ્લાસમાં પાણી આપ્યું છે. તો તરત કંઈક આજુબાજુ પેલા પોઠિયા હોય ને એ કે સિલ્વર બાપાનું સિલ્વર બાપાને ત્યારે કોણ હતું? ગુરુદેવ હતા ત્યારે. હા, તો ગુરુદેવનું ગ્લાસ અને પાણી એને સ્ટીલના ગ્લાસમાંથી ચાંદીના ગ્લાસમાં કાઢ્યું. એન્ડ આઈ ડિડન્ટ લાઈક ઇટ. સો તે દિવસથી મેં બધું બંધ કરી દીધું. ડોન્ટ ગીવ મી ઇન સિલ્વર. તો હવે આખા વર્લ્ડમાં બિચારા કોઈ સિલ્વર કર્યું હોય, આઈ એકચ્યુઅલી ડોન્ટ વોન્ટ ટુ ડિસ્ટિંગ્વિશ બિટવીન સ્ટીલ એન્ડ સિલ્વર. But I had to take this vow so that lavishness does not come in my life. Or, koine e na thai. So, now it's so funny. Actually, I don't feel the difference between silver and steel. And still, it is said કે બાપા સિલ્વર ને ગોલ્ડમાં નહીં ખાય. મેં કીધું આ તો અહીંયા ઉલમાંથી પાછા ચૂલમાં નીકળ્યા. શું કહેવાય ઇંગ્લિશમાં? From pot to, so pan, from frying pan to fire. Ulmati chul. Chul means fire. Chulo. Fire. તો મેં કીધું આ સ્ટીલમાંથી સિલ્વરમાં નીકળ્યા, હવે સિલ્વરમાંથી સ્ટીલમાં નીકળ્યા. મેં કીધું સમ વ્યવહાર ઇઝ ઓલવેઝ. So even he confirms this is steel. It's not, this glass is not of water. So okay, Baba, you try to understand, it is containing water. So દૂરથી અમે એમ જ કહીએ કે આ ગ્લાસ ઓફ શરબત હશે. બધાને વિચાર તો આવ્યો હશે શરબત છે, પાણી. હા, આપણે ક્લિયર જ કરી દે પાણી. And I'm not going to drink also. I just wanted to give this example. લઈ લે ભાઈ. So in the practical life, now she was right. This is a glass of water. But from the absolute viewpoint, it's a glass of steel containing water. So what, a base સાથે ગણીને we say glass of water shortમાં. A glass of steel containing water. And that water is also pure. So glass containing pure water, lambu, so glass of water. So this is accepted or not accepted? Accepted એટલે 100%. ટ્રેનમાં ગયા છો ક્યારે? તો સ્ટેશન આવ્યું છે ક્યારે કે ટ્રેન ચાલુ જ રહી છે તમારી? સ્ટેશન આવ્યું, સ્ટેશન કોઈ દિવસ આવે જ નહીં. સ્ટેશન જ્યાં હોય ત્યાં જ હોય, ટ્રેન આવે. હે સ્ટેશન આવી ગયો, સામાન લો. સ્ટેશન કેવી રીતે આવે? સ્ટેશન આવે ને જાય? ટ્રેન આવે કે જાય? Isn't this accepted or not? કે કોઈ કામ સવારના 4 વાગે પેલું બનારસ સ્ટેશન આવ્યું હતું ને, તારું ખબર જ ને તને? ટ્રેક પર તું બેસી ગયેલો એકદમ સમાધિ ભાવમાં. એવી તો વાત. વારાણસી 2000 times you have gone to Varanasi. 2000, year 2000. Okay. So that's another story. Some other time, yeah. So આપણે 4 વાગે આમ સૂતા હોય અને કોઈ કે જલ્દી સ્ટેશન આવી ગયું, સામાન લો. તો આપણે એમ કે નો, this is not right from the absolute viewpoint. Do we say that? We accept it. Still we understand કે સ્ટેશન has not moved an inch. It is the station, the train જે ભાગતી સ્ટેશને પહોંચી. But in practical life, this is understood and accepted, adopted and accepted. And you should have brains. See, if I say you are a girl, so you are a soul with a glass with water, so a soul with a female body, so I call you a girl. So even this is accepted. And if I say you are not a girl, girl is this body, and you are different from the body, just an association. So that is from the absolute viewpoint, you are a pure soul, peaceful soul, blissful soul. This is from the absolute viewpoint. From the relative viewpoint, in relation to the body, you are a girl. Because the body is of a girl. So isn't this accepted or not? So these are two viewpoints. If I say a girl, I actually mean you are not a boy. રાહુલને શું આવી પહેલું શું આવ્યું બાલ સંતાન girl means not boy, so I have to take only this much meaning. But from the absolute viewpoint, a soul from one place came here, left one body. Simple. Both are accepted. So beautifully, the question here is, why two nays are necessary when we want to know the complete truth, pramana? Then why this khatpata of nay? Who would want to know a partial truth? Everyone wants to know the entire truth, right? So who would want to know a partial truth? So why this whole thing started, Jamela started of nay, and then two types of nay, and what is right and what is wrong, and then clinging to one particular nay and creating problems. But why this nay is needed when a truth seeker wants complete truth? He wants to understand the complete truth. By pramana he can understand. Why he needs to take the help of naya? તમને ક્વેશ્ચન થયો કે નહીં? નહીં થયો હોય તો હું આગળ જાઉં. Why? Why? Because it is not possible to explain the nature of any substance or say the nature of the soul. Any substance or soul from both viewpoints simultaneously. See, I'll take 2 seconds minimum, right? This is a pure soul, but currently it is impure. So it was not simultaneously. In 1 second, you can't explain both the dimensions. Both different viewpoints cannot be expounded sathe. It can remain in your gnan sathe. But when you have to speak, it cannot remain sathe. Sometimes there is no purpose. આપણે વધારે દોડડા પણ કરીએ, એવું કરે. એક વખત મેં ભરતભાઈને પૂછ્યું હતું, સિતાર ભરતભાઈ, where is he? So you remember, and then what? એક સ્ટિક નાખેલી તમારા ઉપર, and you beautifully took that beating, and today you are so happy. Simple question પૂછ્યું તો મેં શું પૂછ્યું હતું તમને? હા, મેં સિમ્પલ પૂછ્યું. એમની વાઈફનું નામ હંસા છે. મેં એમને સિમ્પલ ક્વેશ્ચન પૂછ્યું, હંસા તમારી વાઈફ છે કે નહીં? નાઉ લેટ્સ આસ્ક અભય. અભય, હંસા તમારી વાઈફ છે કે નહીં? હા કે ના? ના. મૃદુલા તમારી વાઈફ છે કે નહીં?
હા.
સી, સો કોન્ફિડન્સ. કેવા કોન્ફિડન્સથી જવાબ આપ્યો. હી મેડ ઇટ ટુ લોંગ. From નિશ્ચય નહીં, it is this. From where મેં કીધું આટલું બધું મેં પૂછ્યું જ નથી. હંસા તમારી વાઈફ છે કે નહીં એટલું જ પૂછ્યું છે. અને પછી તો હા, બેસી જાઓ તમે. So simultaneously you cannot speak about both the viewpoints together. Simultaneously it is not possible even for the omniscient Lord. There is a limitation of language. વાણીની મર્યાદા. સર્વજ્ઞ ભગવાન જાણે બધું. But when he has to speak out, it has to be simultaneous. It has to be stepwise. It cannot be consequential. Not together. So what will happen? Suthai. So he will need to speak of one viewpoint, and when he's speaking, he has to emphasize also, because that is a partial truth. It's not false. It is a partial truth. He has to emphasize, but that does not mean he does not agree to the other viewpoint. That is silent that time. This is emphasized, that is subordinated. ગુજરાતીમાં આ મુખ્ય અને આ ગૌણ. It's subordination. And this is emphasized. Have you ever seen a lady? આ આસન આપણે કરાવ્યા છે એટલે churning the buttermilk, not butter, for butter. Churning the buttermilk for obtaining butter, producing butter. છાસને વલોવે for makhan. Janmashtami is around the corner. So, you need a rope. And what happens with the rope? What do? It goes back and forth, back and forth. So these two ends of the rope are the two viewpoints. You want to churn the dahi or the chas, you want the butter, you need to churn. So the two ends of the rope are the two viewpoints. One is emphasized, other is subordinated. Then this is emphasized, this is subordinated, this is emphasized, this is subordinated, and in the whole process, you produce the butter. Simple. Is it very complex? Even a Bharwadan or Gopi knows this. The Gopi who does not have a head, surrendered, no, to Krishna, doesn't have. Even she knows કે આવી રીતે માખણ થાય તો તમને આત્મા આવી રીતે કરીને લઈ લો ને. Sometimes નિશ્ચય, and that is the purpose of the discussion, or that is the requirement right now when I'm asking what is the eternal nature of the soul. તો આને emphasize કરી દો. હમણાં જે ક્રોધ આવ્યો ને પછી શાંત થયો, એ બધું આટલું બધું ફ્લક્ચ્યુએટિંગ વાત નહીં કરવાની. Eternal truth. Oh, so you are pure now? No. No. I need to do Kashayini Upshantata. I need to. Oh, so you are totally impure? No. I am Shuddha Buddha Chaitanya Gan. Suddenly he is talking of Kashayo ne Shant Karo. Suddenly he is talking ke tu Shuddha che. It's not contradiction. It's not contradictory. Wherever, whatever is needed. Jahan jahan je yogya che. If you are going to do pramad, so a list of means he'll give you to make your state purified. To purify your state because it is impure. If you go into that gutters down, regretting and repenting, Hare tu Shuddha, you are unblemished. All your nonsense, nothing has touched the pure nature of yours. Just contemplate and meditate on that. Wherever, whatever, જ્યાં જ્યાં જે છે યોગ્ય છે ત્યાં ત્યાં તે અહીંયા આપ્યું છે. But એમના જ્ઞાનમાં both the viewpoints are running simultaneously or are present simultaneously, and that is reflected here. He is saying આમાં નથી કહે, બંને સાથ રહેલ. Both of them peacefully, without contradicting each other, they peacefully, meaning in harmony, they stay together. So beautiful. Simple. So, two ends of the rope, two viewpoints, wherever the purpose, the requirement, you emphasize that viewpoint, but don't disregard. Just subordinate the other one. Don't disregard it. Don't abandon it. Don't negate it. Just subordination is gaun karo. And negate karu is wrong knowledge. Very simple. Just as two tracks of a railway line, they never meet. 2,000, 5,000 kilometers અહીંયા તો નથી ઇન્ડિયામાં, અમેરિકામાં. Trans-USA, Trans-Canadian, Trans-Siberian, from this end to this end, thousands of kilometers. Railway line, 2 tracks, never meet. But a train runs only with the support of both the tracks. They never meet. So absolute viewpoint and relative viewpoint will never merge into one another, never accept each other. But the train of spiritual pursuit can advance only with the support of both the Naya. Such a complex subject, made so simple. Directly તમે associate બી નથી કરી શકતા at present, still you find it so perfect, so logical. In fact, the whole lecture should have been how this can be made complex. Because it sounds so simple. તમને થાય કે આટલી common sense નું લખવાની શું જરૂર પડી? Now that is another, after we finish Atma Siddhi, I'll take one. How, people become one-sided and they go astray. And they are not even on the path of liberation. And Param Kripadev himself will say, they become hypocrites. મુક્તિ જ્ઞાન કથે અંતર છૂટ્યો નમો અને જ્ઞાનીની આશા જ ના કરે. માત્ર જ્ઞાનીનો દ્રોહ, hypocrites બની જાય. And their unqualified behavior towards a જ્ઞાની, undignified. Qualified bhi nahi, dignified bhi nahi. Undignified. They insult, they correct a જ્ઞાની. He should be doing this, he should not be doing this, he should say this way, he should not this way. માત્ર જ્ઞાનીનો દ્રોહ, અનંતા જ્ઞાનીઓની આશા ના કરે છે. Because he is against purity, not a pure existence, against purity. So that is 137. I said no, every verse is woven with another. So this concept of giving a link and all, I think it's the first time. કેટલાક લોકો લખતા હશે પણ વિવેચનની અંદર લખી દેતા હશે. But I have kept it outside the verse, the link, and then how this verse, and it's so significant here. So I'm totally, I was in love with Atma Siddhi. I can feel myself getting dissolved in Atma Siddhi now. So it starts with just loving it, and you don't realize it. It's બે ત્રણ જણાએ જોયું તો કે અરે તમે માય આવી રીતે લખ્યું ચા લખ્યું, તો મેં કીધું માયનું એક્ઝિસ્ટન્સ જ ક્યાં છે? કે કેપ્સમાં લખો. આપણું પેલો ડોડાય ભાઈ કે જરા આમ લખો તેમ લખો. Nothing doing. What is dissolved now will not be kept in capital letter. It's a vyavhar, so I have to keep. But the eternal truth is it's not there. It never was and never will. Right? So one can advance on the spiritual journey with the help of the absolute viewpoint and જ્યાં જ્યાં જે યોગ્ય verse 8. And અહીંયા બી જેમ જ્યારે જ્યાં જરૂર પડી, he has used it appropriately. So he says here in this scripture, nothing has been stated from one viewpoint absolutely, meaning either from absolute viewpoint or from relative. They are simultaneously kept in view. And if it's there in the view, it's going to be reflected in the scripture, of course, obviously. So a true seeker will understand the truth from both the viewpoints and make the correct effort. So if he feels, no, I need to take help of the spiritual practices to stay in the awareness of my pure nature, advocated from the absolute viewpoint, then I will. So true seeker will have no problem. But one-sided adoption, કેટલાકને વ્યવહાર નહીં જ ફાવે કે very simple, you are impure, do tapasya, do gnan, dhyan, dan, bhakti, and become pure. Now, why you want a impure becomes pure? Simple. Why you want an eternal pure nature? Why you need? મને ઓસ્ટ્રેલિયાથી ફોન આવ્યો એક છોકરાનો કે ગરમ પાણી ઠંડુ થયું, સિમ્પલ. હવે એનો નેચર ઓલવેઝ ઠંડુ હતું. વાય ડુ યુ નીડ ધેટ? ઇટ ઇઝ બોઇલિંગ હોટ એન્ડ કૂલ ઇટ. સેમ વે આઈ એમ ઇમ્પ્યોર. કશાયો શાંત કરું, આઈ વિલ બીકમ શાંત, આઈ વિલ બીકમ શુદ્ધ. So I don't need that nischay at all. See, this is extreme this side. Then there is that extreme that side. Bandha moksha che kalpana. All these talks of bondage and liberation is a figment of imagination. All is kalpana. The truth is you were, are and always remain pure. He doesn't need vyavhar nahi. He doesn't need nischay nahi. You are understanding? Have I confused you a little bit? That was my purpose. Okay, there is this, some you go on a different logic and you feel only this is needed, but this is only a partial truth. This is also only a partial truth. And your train has to go on both the tracks. And they are never going to be friends. The nischay nahi, vyavhar nahi will never. So one question I asked, two people playing chess, are they friends or enemies? So two enemies will sit together and play a game of chess?
No, they're friends, but in the game that they're playing, they're enemies.
Okay, that means you needed both the viewpoints.
Correct.
Simple. If you say friends, એક બીજાની રાણી ઉપર છે, you call them friends? આની દ્રષ્ટિ આની રાણી પર છે, આની દ્રષ્ટિ આની રાણી, you call them friends? Enemies. If you say enemies, will they ever sit together for a game of chess? So are they friends or are they enemies? So you will need two viewpoints for this. And when we are talking of the soul and you are asking me, either say this or either say that. Atma shuddha che ke ashuddha che? I said both. Correct? Okay, fine. So, Param Kripaludev, by constructing this verse, is emphasizing on the importance of the integration of both the viewpoints. Both are needed. One-sided approach will not work in your pursuit of attainment of liberation. In fact, Param Kripaludev's heart flowed with compassion when he saw the sorry sight and the plight, you can say, of people with one-sided views. And then they believe, their behavior, and how they become irreligious at times and even immoral or unethical at times. So out of that compassion, he tied the concepts from both the viewpoints in Sri Atma Siddhi Shastra. You will find Vyavhar Nahi also, you will find Nischay Nahi also. So after we finish Atma Siddhi, we'll study karsu, okay, this is Vyavhar, this is from the Vyavhar Nahi, this is from the Nisch, and you will see a perfect balance, which only a true seeker will appreciate, will have the capacity to appreciate the balance he has, like beautiful, striking balance between the ideal and the practical. Because pure Atana, it's ideal, right? And the practical is I'm impure, what should I do right now? So you see a beautiful balance. Focus on that. That has to be your mark and work on this. Perfect. So he has painted a vivid picture of the ultimate reality, where on one hand he gives an idyllic image of the perfect eternal nature, and on the other hand he gives the seeker a succinct and simple method to achieve it. When a deep longing for liberation arises, he speaks about the vyavhar, the steps, the method. And he beautifully shows how fluidly, how fluidly you can move from one to other, and you don't even realize how nischay nahi vyavhar nahi or vyavhar nahi nischay nahi, how the whole movement happened, you don't even know. So smooth. Saying, chalo, ધ્યાનમાં બેસે છે તો શુદ્ધ બુદ્ધ ચૈતન્ય ગંતી સ્ટાર્ટ કરજે. અચ્છા તું ઇન્ટ્રોસ્પેક્શન કરે છે તો I am right, I am pure, એનાથી you can't start. You have to examine each feelings and thoughts of yours. So he has taught us how to do introspection, he has taught us how to do meditation, he has to do that, how to move effortlessly from introspection to meditation through contemplation. That is the basically movement. Introspection, negative, negative, impure, impure. Meditation, Shuddhatma chu, Shuddhatma chu, Shuddhatma chu. And this beautiful movement is how contemplation, satsang karta, karta, karta. You were just stuck in introspection, he starts with meditation. You are acting a little smart there, he brings you back on the ground. Okay, what is this? This is a patch of jealousy. This is a patch of comparison. What is this then? That means you are talking of Shuddhatma, but inside you are competing, comparing. So that means your focus is there, your jeeb is there. So lofty words only, but your heart yet does not accept. So this beautiful movement, how Param Kripalu strides both the viewpoints. He moves along with both the viewpoints. Is illustrated beautifully in Shri Atma Siddhi Shastra. I think I've finished with this. Let's sing.
नय निश्चय एकांत थी आमा नथी कहेल एकांते व्यवहार नहीं बनने साथ रहे